One of the quotes that I live by, team, is if not now, when? If not me, who? I'm joined today by Jason Salyer, my good pal, and we're going to talk about the state of affairs and why we do the types of videos and the training that we all do. And I'm definitely looking forward to hearing your thoughts and your comments down below about maybe things that specific or general as far as why you train. That way we can all continue to master our craft and develop our tactical virtue. Jason, for those who don't know you, introduce yourself.
That's right. Yeah, guys, my name is Jason Salyer, and I put videos out on a couple different channels. One of them is On3, and that's my personal channel. The other one is Survival Dispatch. Much bigger channel. Put a lot more effort into that one, but that's not my personal one. So I'd really appreciate you coming over to my measly little channel called On3. Subscribe to that one.
Lots of good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. But yeah, I do everything from primitive survival to preparedness, bushcrafting,
fitness,
health and fitness. I've got a big background. My professional background is in strength and conditioning. I worked in collegiate athletics for a long time as a head strength and conditioning coach. I worked for Naval Special Warfare as a human performance specialist for Navy SEALs. I've done lots of cool stuff, lots of places. I like to challenge myself in a lot of remote areas and different climates, and I like to punish myself and my friends.
That's right.
It's a good time.
And it's always good times.
That's right.
You got to embrace the suck.
That's right.
So what kind of suck is coming? Like, if you look, I grew up, we both grew up a long time ago, but I always remember, it's like every generation says the same thing about the current generation. Your music sucks. You're going to hell.
No respect these
kids. Get off my lawn.
That's right.
But as I look back, from the early 80s to now, there is like no doubt that the level of tension in the world across the political spectrum is way higher than it's ever been.
It's definitely escalated.
Yeah.
World War, getting closer and closer. Civil War, we're getting closer and closer. Just conflicts everywhere. Unnecessary hostilities are across the globe. Everywhere.
And you look at literally every continent has something going on.
Yeah.
And that second, third order of effect of what happens in Africa, right? Crazy stuff going on there recently.
Yeah.
Or what's happening in Northeast Europe. What happens in Central and South America. What happens right on our border here in North America, in Asia, right? Taiwan. Like, there's just you could spin the wheel and stop it, and there's something
a problem
crazy
there. Yeah. That's what it seems like more and more these days. I don't know. It's just seems like the world's getting stir crazy and wanting to fight.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Like, dude, just
like we've been cooped up too long and we want to punch somebody in the face.
Hey, you need to go drink some tears of economy, everybody. I mean, come on, get on board here.
That's right.
Have a stogie and go for a run.
Yeah, that's right. So why are we doing all this? Why do we prepare? Why do we train? Why do we get better every single day? Why do I want to be stronger physically, spiritually, and emotionally? Like, it's because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And the world may require us to be a lot tougher than we are right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree 100%. And part of the why for me is something that you'd mentioned earlier. It's an insurance. And more than insurance, it's investing. I recently shared something with somebody here on the channel as far as the types of people. You looked at people who make it rich, right? They go and they work 20 years, they got this huge paying job, they retire, they move to Fort Myers, and then they sit on their ass for the rest of their life. Mm-hmm. But that's the rare exception. The majority of us bust our ass every day to take care of ourselves and our family. But we're rich in experience and knowledge and the wisdom that comes in that. And when I look at what we do as far as our training and how we progress in ourselves each and every single day, it's literally an investment in who we are. Mm-hmm. And if it's not just, can I rub two sticks together?
Sure.
It's learning more about life.
Yeah.
And about our family and our community, about our terrain, about what's going on in the world around us, and help giving us a better perception or better ability to perceive the things that are outside in the world that may have that negative impact.
Yeah, I think society has rewarded the specialist. The person that's done nothing but program the widget.
Yeah.
And that's all they've done their whole life, and they're really, really good at it, and they make a lot of money doing it, and then one day they retire and they stop doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But if hard times should come upon us, the world might require us to be a little bit more well-rounded.
Yeah.
It might require us to do something physical with our hands. And if all you've ever done is program widgets your entire life, and suddenly you're called upon to do something real,
right,
like tangible, you're going to be behind the curve, and that's going to be a problem. If all you've ever done is fly airplanes your entire life, and you're a pilot like my dad, and the airline shut down because of the next virus or whatever, and you're out of a job, and that's all you've ever done, all you've ever known, what do you do? Right? So I think I want to be as well-rounded as possible. I want to be like the jack of all trades, the multi-tool. That's kind of my philosophy. I want to be able to do and be as well-versed in as many things as I possibly can. Useful things. Useful things as I possibly can. So, when the time comes, I at least have a little bit of knowledge about that subject. I'm not the best at it. Right. I'm not the best at anything, which sounds terrible. Like when I say that out loud, it sounds awful. But I'm not the best at anything, and I never have been.
I'm just a dude.
I'm just a guy. Yeah. But I'm pretty good at a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty average at a lot of things. And there's a huge spectrum of things that I can kind of get by. I can kind of do.
And you probably know some dudes who are better at things that you're not good at.
That's right. And because I've befriended a lot of really intelligent people like yourself that know things that I don't know, they can teach me those things, or I can lean on them a little bit for their expertise.
And vice versa.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
So having a community is absolutely huge.
I think it's one of the biggest, most neglected things there is. Yeah.
I think that there's probably a lot of people being in the military and having moved, every 3 to 4 years for the last since 1995 BC. That's before cell phones. It's not really before cell phones, but that's what I say.
That's pretty good. I've heard that.
You move all over the place, and you're constantly in this. I'm building new communities each and every single time that I move because you're forced to.
Right.
But I think, even for guys like me that have moved around, I mean, you've moved around a little bit, but even for folks who've never left their city or their county, odds are that network of friends that we all start with is probably all very similar. We don't know the right people. We know the people that we work with, or the people that we go to church with.
Yeah.
It's all great and good people to have in our lives. But when it comes to training and thinking about how do I prepare myself for in the event, because it's not a matter of if, it really is a matter of when.
Of course, yeah.
How do I find people that of like-minded?
Yeah, you just got to put yourself out there. I think the prepper community specifically a lot of them are kind of introverted, and they don't want to tell too much about what they're doing because they think that it's making them a vulnerable position, But if you don't put yourself out there a little bit and you don't open up and take on some of that risk, you're never going to reap the rewards of the community that you can build. And you're not going to do it by yourself.
Right.
If this SHTF, I would say it like that. It's always SHTF.
Everything.
Yeah. If you say SHTF, if that happens and you're by yourself,
you're screwed.
You're going to make it a little while, maybe. And then you're not. That's it. So,
and if you think you're better than that, just go watch alone.
Yeah.
Nobody makes it.
No. Eventually you will die.
Eventually you will die.
Yeah. Even if you are the stud, you could be the best at everything, right? Mm-hmm. You could be the fittest, the strongest. You could catch the most fish, and you could slay all the deer in the land and be the best kung fu fighter. But eventually you're going to break your leg.
Yeah.
Or get sick.
Or all the deer is literally going to be killed because there's not enough.
Yeah, that's it. And then what? And then what do you do? And then that's the other thing that I get to when I start talking about that is it gives you purpose, right? So even if the SHTF never happens, you've still developed a community, and you've got friends, and you've got family, and that's what it's all about. I do not understand at all the guys that say, I've got my beans piled to the ceiling, and I'm sitting on cases of ammo, and I'll be just fine. But I do not understand, why? Right. What is the point of that existence, it sounds lonely and sad and pointless.
Yeah.
The only reason that I do all this stuff is for friends. It's for my kids. It's for my wife. It's so I can keep a little bit of normal life going if things get rough. That's
Right.
why I prepare, and I want to protect my family. I want to be there to be the guy. I want to be the guy that shows up into the room and people relax a little bit and they say, "Whew, okay, Jason's here. Okay, all right, we're good." I don't know if I'm there yet, but like that's what I'm striving for each and every day. I want to be that guy that shows up and I solve problems.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're out there, if you're looking and having challenges in finding a network of people, I can tell you what my own personal experience moving here to Northeast Georgia. I went to the library.
Yeah.
I went to all the gun stores.
Mm-hmm.
I went to one of the rifle ranges up in Tennessee, and shot and just met some dudes and chit chatted. I went to some. They had their own official word, but beekeepers, whatever they call themselves, they're weird. I went to all kinds of places where dudes who have similar values and perspectives do stuff. Right?
Yeah. Doers.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. Like, it's putting yourself out there, going to church and getting out there at the gun shops and talking to guys. It's pretty easy to find like-minded individuals just by the way you dress. Like, you can kind of spot guys that are like, oh yeah, he's one of us. You know what I mean? You kind of get it. But it's much more difficult to find doers.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of talkers.
A lot of talkers. Just look in the comments.
Yeah, a lot of
talkers. But please, leave a comment.
That's right. Keep talking.
That's it.
But it's much more difficult to find doers.
Yeah.
And the doers of the world are the ones that make a difference.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I would rather have, I think we're both fortunate with the amount of pals that we have here in our community. But even if I only had one or two, like that
quality,
is quality over quantity.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter how many Facebook friends you have.
Yeah, no,
does not matter. They will not be there when you really, really need them.
Yeah,
yeah.
And you also have a lot of local community groups. So like I went down to the fire department because they run the search and rescue organization here, and there's a lot of other community type groups that are out there to get involved that are actually doing things that may or may not be, thinking about SHTF, but the people who do that probably are, just not maybe in that group, right?
Yeah.
So all kinds of places to find folks that are like-minded.
Yeah, or and even if they're not, totally on board with what we're talking about, preparedness-minded individuals, maybe you're just finding good dudes.
Yeah.
Right? Just good quality human beings that are willing to do things.
Yeah.
And then you can educate them a little bit and bring them over to the dark side.
That's it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Or find out that they have some awesome underground storage container basement and they have all the stuff down there.
That's right.
Hell,
That's right.
This is awesome. And you never would have known if you didn't say, hey,
hello,
I'm Bill.
That's right.
How you doing?
That's all it takes. That's all it takes.
It goes from there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get back to, the why are we preparing, and you look at the news, and the news cycle rinses and repeats, and we all get caught up in the moment of what's happening right now. Like the big thing now, obviously, is the border.
Yeah.
What happened, with some service members getting killed overseas recently, what's happening in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Pretty soon it's going to be all about the election, and then what's going to happen after whoever gets elected. Are they actually going to get installed? We're going to have a civil war. Oh my God, what's going to happen? It's the end of the world.
Yeah.
But if we look back last year and the year before, there's always these cycles.
Stuff going on. There's always going to be something going on, but I always talk about controlling the controllable, right?
Right.
There's nothing you can do unless you're literally on the border in Texas.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do to change what's going on there right now.
Right.
I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You can jabber on about it all day long and you get pissed about it and you can, have arguments with your, people in your family about these things, political debates, but what are you going to do?
Right.
All right. What am I going to do? Well,
what can you control?
Yeah. What can I control? So I don't work. I'm guilty of not being caught up on current events. I have my head in the sand a lot. Not in the sand, but I'm doing things. I'm out there living my life and doing stuff, and I don't pay attention to what's going on so much because I just can't control it. You know, I mean, I'll still vote and I'll still do all the things whether it matters or not. I'm still going to do what I can to do to make a difference in the world. But what I can do to make a difference in the world is have a positive effect on you because I'm talking to you. I can have a positive effect on you guys that are watching, and I can maybe change some minds, and I can encourage people to be better and exercise and be fit. And if the SHGF never happens, you'll still be fitter and happier and healthier.
That's right.
Yeah, live a more productive life.
And you'll have lots of food and ammo and guns and everything else that comes with it.
That's right.
And this was something I used to tell soldiers that were in my charge that might be complaining about the big army, you know, all of the bureaucracy that exists. It's like, dudes, you can't change the army. It's not even your job. Mm-hmm. You know, you're a squad leader. You're a fire team leader. The only thing you have to do is do what's right by yourself and those who are in your charge. If you do that, eventually it will impact something that's larger.
Yeah, it has this like trickle down effect, right? If I can have a positive effect on you, you know, rub off on you in some positive way, you might pass that on to somebody else, and then that person might pass it on to somebody else, and it just has this compounding effect that maybe will change the world.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You never know.
Yeah,
world peace.
That's right.
So yeah, like I don't get caught up too much. I used to watch the news all the time.
It's just depressing.
It is. It never really wrangled my mind. You know, and I look at some news stuff now here and there, but like you cannot let the things that are out there control you, because once you do, like, it completely changes what happens, like physiologically, what happens in your brain, right? Yeah. It really does.
Yeah, it can consume. I know plenty of people that live their lives on Fox News, and they are consumed by it,
right?
And it just turns them into angry people,
right?
But you walk outside and the birds are chirping, the sun's shining, like, relax.
Yeah, it's all good. And there's plenty of good dudes in your life, but when you become so negative, you know, and this negative bias comes out and it changes your perceptions, pretty soon you go to church or you go to the store or you go somewhere else and the people that you interact with is absolutely horrible. There's nothing building or positive about it.
I definitely agree. I mean, it can taint you for sure in a negative way if you let it. Don't let it.
It's easy to do.
Yeah.
And if you're finding yourself there, I think you just, you know, just like a lot of things, you got to fast, you got to break some cycles, you got to put stuff down, maybe
put it away for a while. It's
going to be all right.
Fast from your phone.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like,
it's crazy talk.
After you watch this video.
After you watch this video
and you hit the thumbs up and all the things, you do all the stuff. Just put it down and walk away from it for a couple of days, and you might be amazed.
Yeah, There's a lot of life happening out there.
There sure is. Spend more time with your kids. Spend more time with your wife. You know, priorities. That's the thing.
That is amazing. Mm-hmm. And still, you have the what am I doing and why am I doing it? It's like this constant thing, right? This ebb and flow. Like I was a workaholic in the military, like overload on work.
Sure.
I have to do my job. I have to kick people in the ass. I got to, you know, yell and bark orders and give purpose, direction, motivation, accomplish mission, improve the organization, whatever. Family life suffered. And then I would go through the times where I would try to balance things out.
Yeah.
And balance things out, and there's always this constant, right?
Always. That's the hardest thing. I've struggled with exactly the same thing. Yeah. It's like finding the balance in your life is the hardest part, because you're always, if you're working on something, you're neglecting something else.
Yeah,
like absolutely. That's just the way it works, and it's unfortunate. If I am exercising and I'm really pushing and I'm trying to get better, that means that I'm spending more time doing that than I am teaching my kids how to do something.
Yeah.
And if I'm spending a ton of time with my kids, I'm not spending enough time with my wife.
Right.
And if I'm working super hard, I'm trying to make more money and I'm doing the things and I'm, you know, getting it all done, my family's being neglected. It's just always balance. And it's this constant ebb and flow and juggling of things that's always the challenge, and it never stops.
It never does. And what I would follow on with that is, if you're in a phase of life and you don't feel friction in where your priorities are, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Right? It's okay. It's okay to feel conflicted about, what do I do? Because that's telling you that you are doing the right things.
Yeah.
And yes, maybe you need to change. But if you never had that friction that something is wrong, then you would never change. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I always feel like I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
Because, and I don't necessarily, I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm not good enough because I'm always striving to be better at something. Whatever, a dad, a husband, marksman, whatever. Right. I want to be better. I'm not good enough, and that's why I keep going back to it, because I'm addicted to the performance. I want to be better, and I will never stop trying to be better. The moment you stop trying to be better is when you start dying.
Yeah. You
kick your feet up on the couch and you start watching TV and you stop going outside. That's when you start dying.
Yeah.
And then it's never going to be me.
It shouldn't be, and it shouldn't be you. Yeah. I think some of that is like being honest with yourself, right? Like, if you can read all the books that you want, you can say you can do all the things in the world, but if you're not really honest with what you can do,
knowing your limitations is just as important. I mean, I know. But you won't know that unless you go out and test yourself and do the
absolutely.
things.
You got to do the things, right?
Yeah, I don't know I can run to the top of the mountain unless I've tried running to the top of the mountain and failed.
Yeah.
You know
absolutely.
what I mean?
Or made it.
Or made it, whatever. You don't know. So that's why I always continuously try to go. And as you age, things change. So what I used to be able to do, I used to be pretty good in the weight room. Like, that was kind of my thing. I could lift some weights and stuff and throw things around and do a bajillion pull-ups a day. But I can't do as much as I used to be able to do, for various reasons, because my focus has shifted onto other things. Maybe I could get back to that, but like I said, I'd be giving up something to get that. Yeah. And I just always be better, always testing yourself, always doing the things. You've never done enough.
You've never done enough. And never assume that what you've done in the past to get you here is what you need to get you there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you may end up in a cycle of lunacy, of never being able to actually change and get better, because it's never enough.
Right.
There's always ways to improve your foxhole, and don't assume that because you pack your bag in your truck that everything 2 weeks later is exactly how you want it, because your thinking constantly is changing, and you may want to make improvements, or maybe you take your rifle and group and zero it, and everything was spot on, and then 2 months later you go to shoot and you don't hit a freaking thing, right?
It happens. That's why you got to constantly test yourself.
Yeah, you got to say, well, shit, I need to
I've worked
do some more.
I've worked with lots of people, and I've trained lots of people, and I've been trained by lots of people. Military guys are the worst. No offense. Yeah. But the military guys are the worst at saying things along the lines of like, I've done hard things. I've done the hard stuff. I don't need to do that anymore. Like, I've been there, done that. But it's simply not true. It's not. I mean, you used to do all the cool guy stuff, and you used to be able to climb the ladders and do all the stuff and, shoot the gnat's wing from 300 yards away. But can you still do that?
Right.
And knowing your limitations is a big deal. It's important. And that's why I like to go test myself a lot. And I like to invite as many people as possible to go suffer a little bit. Not only because you know what you're capable of, and it's because you can think outside the box a little bit and solve problems. And you also, if you do that with other guys, not just by yourself, you learn who they are, and you learn who you can count on, who you can trust, and what they're like in stressful situations. And you won't know that. You won't really learn who somebody is by just having a casual conversation with them. You won't know who they are just by watching a football game. But if you go out and suffer a little bit, you'll discover who somebody really, really is. And that's a big deal. Yeah. I mean, I think that's super important. Yeah.
When it comes to training, I would agree 100%, especially, I would take my dudes to the field, and maybe it would start to rain. It was like, oh my God, it's raining. Yeah. But as soon as everybody's soaking wet,
don't care anymore.
It's party time.
Yeah,
let's have a good time.
Yeah. It's just the initial getting over the hump. Yeah.
So I would say the same is true, regardless of where we live, we have different seasons, and we need to get out in all 4 seasons and train, because all those conditions are going to change.
Absolutely. Test your gear, test yourself,
Yeah.
All the time. Because everything's going to be... Every situation is different. The conditions are different.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, where you live way up here is similar but different than where I live right here.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
Just in terrain and some of the vegetation, there's going to be differences, you
Yeah.
know, in things. So just picking up and moving a little bit can force yourself into a new condition, and when you do that, you know, you're having to think through a problem.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I love learning what I can't do.
Yeah.
Like I really like that. Like over the summer, we did this challenge. I put out this post and I said, you know, basically, how far do you think you could walk in the desert? You had one bottle of water. It was just a survival scenario.
Yeah.
And it was the max distance was 40 miles. And I said, do you think you could do it? And like so many people came back and chimed back and they said, oh yeah, 40 miles, I could do it. No problem. Like one bottle of water. Yeah, I could do it. It'd be hard, but I could do it. I'm telling you right now, with one bottle of water, 40 miles, it ain't happening. You will break.
Yeah,
there's some freaks out there, maybe.
Yeah.
But the vast majority of people watching, you try to do that, you will break. And how do I know? Because I went out and did it.
Right.
I made it 30 miles, and it broke me.
I was going to say, like, just based off of my experience of rucking and walking, you know, in duration, one bottle, like I could do 13 miles with no water, right?
Yeah.
And I could do that quickly.
You could probably do like 20 miles with no water.
Yeah.
And that's what I discovered. 20 miles,
right.
Pretty much anybody could do it.
It's I was going to double it. I could probably do 23.
Yeah.
No problems.
I think so.
After that, you're going to have some kind of a problem.
It was like this: steady, 20 miles, 25 miles, just dropped off, hit the wall. And like I said, I know what my limitations are. So now if I was ever faced in this crazy situation where I knew I had to go 30 miles and all I got is this one bottle of water, not saying that's ever going to happen, but I've tested myself and I know that I could do that.
Yeah.
I could make it happen.
No, that's awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Little victories.
Yeah.
And getting little wins are so important.
Yeah.
Find something, get a win.
That's it.
You never done something, do it, and then get a win.
Go try it.
Yeah.
Or lose and learn something.
Yeah, absolutely. And then do it until you get it.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, and persevere. That's right. That's exactly right.
Because you're going to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just part of life. Failings are going to happen.
Yeah.
Personally, financially, relationally, you know, skills-based. Failures happen. Murphy comes and kicks you right in the teeth.
Yeah. And don't be afraid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just gotta keep moving.
I'm just as guilty of it as anybody else. Not so much anymore, but I used to be. I used to, you know, hide from challenges and because I was afraid of failing. But I don't do that anymore. Like if you invited me to go do something right this second, I'd say yes. Like I take it on right now because I'm the old me is dead.
Yeah.
Like I won't do it anymore.
Right.
Like I'm not afraid of losing. I'll lose a lot.
Yeah.
I'll win some. Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
That's right.
Hey, before we cut this short, I'm going to do a super unannounced everyday carry.
Oh, boom! What do we got? You want to lay it on the table?
Yeah.
Just hold it up?
Just
Hold it up.
Yeah.
All right, what do I got on me? This is me on a typical, what day is it?
Monday.
Monday. Typical Monday. This is what I got. I've got a lighter. Hopefully works. Cross your fingers.
Yeah!
It works! And I got a Ranger band around it, so if I need to light that on fire, so I don't have to waste the fuel in my lighter. That's what I got there. I have a O-Light, and this one's brass. Feel it. It's heavy.
Nice. Yeah, I know
right?
It's going to be heavy.
Yeah, it's heavy, and I know, I get it. I'd prefer a lighter one, but I just like it. You know what I mean? It's not always about utilitarian.
Right.
Sometimes you just like it. I like the brass. Simple light. And I have a thing about flashlights. I want it to come on, and I want it to go off. I don't want a lot of options.
Yeah.
This one's got 2 options. It's all right, though. That's all I got in my front pockets. In my back pocket, I always keep a neck gaiter or something similar, or bandana, but usually a neck gaiter because I just found these things to be extremely useful for everything. Everything from keeping your neck warm or cool, dip it in the creek on a hot summer day, put it around your neck, and it's like wearing a swamp cooler. It's kind of nice. Put it over my face to keep dust out of my face, or keep my nose warm, keep my lips from getting chapped, get hot stuff out of the fire, name it. I've even used this for a makeshift tourniquet before, and it has worked. Not in a real life situation.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying. Wallet.
Yep.
Simple wallet, very thin. I don't like big bulky stuff. I don't carry stuff unless I actually need it. So all the stuff in here I actually need. And I made this wallet out of a couch I found in the desert.
Nice.
That's it there. Did we show guns on the channel?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So just
Do we show guns on this channel?
I
should in fact, maybe I'll do some screenshots if I can figure out how to do this on my last video of all the nut jobs who said, "Oh my God, what does a gun have to do with your video?" In fact, it's the pinned comment. Go look at it.
Okay. So guns are good.
Yeah.
I like guns too, and I carry a gun every day, but this is not a gun. This is my knife. This is my knife that I designed. This is made by Bear Forest Knives. Shameless plug. If you'd like to have one, go to Bear Forest Knives, and you can find yourself an On3 EDC. It is a fixed blade knife because that's what I like, but it is small enough to carry every day, but big enough to do 99% of the jobs you need a knife to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't need to be hacking through the jungle with it. I just need it to cut things. So wear that on my belt almost every single day. Not every day, but just about. I think that's it there. And on my belt, an appendix rig, I carry a Glock 43. I just recently switched over to this little guy, and I am pretty happy with it so far. I shoot it just as well, almost as well as my 19, but it's so much easier to carry.
Yeah.
It's lighter, it's thinner. I understand the round count is less. I get it, but it's just so much easier to carry. I found myself taking off the 19, and this one I don't have to take off because it's just not as cumbersome. Doesn't get in the way. And this Tier 1 holster is awesome. I can run with this. Like today I ran 2 miles with this on. No problems. It doesn't move around much. It stays right where I want it. Very, very concealable. It pushes up against you. I don't have a kind of a belly going on here, so I don't have the issues a lot of guys do with the appendix rig. So it works good for me. So the 43. That's that. What else do I have?
Have I ever told you that I don't trust alcohol?
I know. I'm one of the weirdo lefties. I know. But I shoot pretty good right-handed too. Yeah, not bad. Not as good, but pretty good. That's pretty much. I mean, I got belt on, that kind of stuff. Usually I wear a Wazoo belt, but with a survival kit in it. But today I decided to go just a regular belt.
Hey, you never know, and that's the point. You never know what you're going to need or what you have, and what you have is what you got.
Yeah,
right.
That's it. I got the essentials right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it, man.
Well, man, I appreciate you jib-jabbing with me for a minute.
Absolutely.
Definitely make sure you leave some comments down below, team, about the things that we've talked about, whether it's why you prepare, how you prepare, what kind of community groups you may be involved in or not involved in, or maybe even some bad experiences with community groups and things that we can all do to learn to look out for, because there's a lot of whack jobs out there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Now we continue to get better. In fact, hey, just stop and go do stuff.